Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for September 16th, 2024 is now in session. We have a special guest, the Deputy District Director for Jim Jordan's office, Vic Caroline. I'm asked her to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, good morning again. I'm Gary Merrill. I'm president of the board this year. To my right is Commissioner Barb Lewis, vice chair, and to my left is Commissioner Jeff Benton. Of course, our clerk, Jennifer Walraven. And Randy's there in the audience, also one of our clerks. And our deputy administrators are out in the audience, Don and Eric, and somewhere out there is Tracy, our administrator. There she is. So let's begin.
Resolution number 24-748, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held September 12, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 24-748. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment today for an item that is not already listed on the agenda. So for item number 3, Tom Wright with the Delaware County Agricultural Society has some updates and remarks for us.
Yeah, maybe that would be easier. Thank you all for attending today. We appreciate it, and this is kind of a tradition for you folks, and we certainly appreciate you all being here and everybody as well. Mr. Merrill had asked if I could give a couple of updates on what's going on here on the fairgrounds, and so I'll just highlight a couple of those things that we've got going right now. So we are well into our bed tax time here, so which this building that we're in is a result of that, which is great. And it is exceptionally well at this point in time because of what's in the other half of this is a lot of our 4-H exhibits. I was talking with Larissa as well. Just an FYI, our 4-H participation continues to climb and rise, which is fantastic. And that's, we sometimes, we don't forget that because our responsibility here at the fairgrounds, and more so in my end of it with the racing part of it, what's most important is our dollars need to support our children and our kids in the county, and that's what's most important. So we're real excited about that progress that we're making. A couple other highlights, we've been renovating an awful lot of buildings around the grounds to try to bring them up from 1938 or whenever else they were built. And there'll be some that are probably going to have to say goodbye to, and that's okay too. And we'll reconstruct or construct new buildings on that part of it. Last year we opened the grandstand. It was kind of phase 1, which had restrooms and offices and so forth, and it's going well. A little hiccup, but Mark in the back is going to take care of that, but we'll get through it. But good news again, this is not bed tax dollars. We had petitioned the state for a grant, and it was, and our state senator, Andy Brenner did a little work on it, a lot of work on it, let's say, and working with the governor, and it was announced, and we've already received the funds of a $2.5 million renovation to the grandstand on the seating side. So on Thursday, we have invited 6 architects that are going to be floating around, and then as a result, they're going to come back and give us their recommendations, which will be great. So hopefully at least some, if not all, of those renovations will happen next year. So that is good news. So we've had good attendance the first couple of days of the fair, which is fantastic. I think we were close to a record on Saturday, so we'll take that as well. And excited. We'll see what happens. An awful lot of sunshine and dry weather, but that's okay. And most importantly, I think we're supposed to be dry on Jug Day, which will be great. I think Jugette Day, for those who follow, the Jugette this year I think will be very special because we have a great group of fillies that are going to race, and they are really talented and good. And we'll see what happens when we get done in 25 minutes of who all we've got in the jug. But I'm excited about that as well. So just it's been a good, successful year. Our Fair Board is working well together, and we're trying to charge forward to get our grounds ready for the next 75 years. And so that's a lot of what our bed tax dollars will go towards too, is leaving it better than we found it. So that's some of where we are. I'm happy to answer any questions or thoughts you guys might have or direction.
I
Gary?
probably should know the answer to this, the purse this year for the job.
Likely going to be 650,000 is a good estimate. I'll know more once we open the box in 25 minutes. We were $1 million last year, and a large part, or what made the difference in that, we had a grant from the state, and the governor had given us an additional $250,000 towards it. And then actually we had 2 supplements, supplementing the horses, meaning they weren't eligible. And so it was $45,000 apiece. We had 2 of those, so there was $90,000 additional dollars. So a combination of things that drove it to $1 million. It's certainly, I'd love to have it back to where it belongs at $1 million. But at $650,000, we'll be the second highest purse in North America for 3-year-old colt pacers. So it's exciting, and it's still an awful lot of money. Anything else I can answer?
No, really appreciate your coming, though. Thank you. And all the hard work, I can't imagine.
There's a whole bunch of them in the back, and
Yes,
we've got a great
yes.
Fair Board that's working hard to make sure we do
Yes.
the right things.
Well, and I think the voters deserve credit for the bed tax and creating the environment that's allowing us to have the money for the upgrades that you've talked about and the ones yet to come.
Yeah, lots more to come.
So, and the legislature who initially approved it also
Oh.
deserve equal.
Yes, they do. And there'll be quite a few of those folks here on Jug Day, too. So we want to make sure they're here to share in it. So,
Thank you, Tom.
yep. Thank you very much.
the update
Appreciate the time,
and
guys.
everything going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 4, resolution number 24-749, in the matter of approving purchase orders and announced certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0913.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 24-749. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-750, approving a resolution honoring the Little Brown Jug 2024 Joseph Neville Memorial Award winner.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Those will be presented tomorrow night at an event. So with that, I'll call for the vote.
Vote on motion 24-750. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-751, approving a resolution honoring the Little Brown Jug Wall of Fame recipient.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. The same applies to this award. Call
Vote
for
on motion 24-751. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-752, in the matter of a proclamation in recognition of the Ashley Junior Fair.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. I believe Don Howard and Lester Ashbrook have some comments for us. Introduce yourself and
I'm Lester Ashbrook. It would have been a cousin that started the Ashley Junior Fair, Charles Ashbrook, a distant cousin. And that whole family, my family, is related to John Ashbrook. You might know him as a leading Republican candidate before he fell over with a heart attack. So, and I do have his campaign poster in my house. First of all, I'd like to thank the commissioners, Lisa Hook, our state representative, for the support of this proclamation and the recognition. I think it's important that we remember about agriculture. It is the kingpin of civilization. Without that, there is no civilization. And it's not a Keebler elf back in the Kroger's that makes all that stuff. It's your farmers. And then the youth coming up need to be aware of that. Other than that, the Ashley Fair started in 1924, actually 23, 24, 25. 20,000 people entered that fair. It took in, I think, Knox County, Marl County, Delaware County, all of Delaware County, and basically became the first fair. When they closed down, of course, you must be aware that they sold the fairgrounds, give the money to the Delaware County, and that became a gift for the kids, get a little gift of sessional people. And then by marriage, Delaware County Fair is the first junior fair. There's a model of the fairgrounds up there, and if you look at it closely, that with 20,000 people, that was in the 30s, probably when we went off the gold standards, and I know the people that own part of it, and I said, you know, one of those gentlemen up there dropped a double gold eagle. That's all we have to do is find that. We all rich. So anybody got a metal detector and knows the gentleman up there that owns it, have at it. So other than that, like I said, there's a lot of history there. The first girl that joined the Boys 4-H Club actually became my teacher, and I didn't know she was a rebel. She forced herself in because there were boys and girls, and they didn't allow the 4-H clubs to mix. And she wanted to show cows. She won grand champion in 1938. And her name was Mary Kay Pyatt. And some of you may know her. Some of you may be taught by her, you know, that went to Ashley School. Other than that, I also recognize Ashley. I'm going to throw that in there too. When I was growing up as a kid, that was the Pleasure Palace of Kublai Khan, you know, for us. You know, I'd like to see it built back up, and mainly due to the farmers and the old World War II vets. So you couldn't ask for a better place. That's all I have to say, so thank you.
And I believe the display behind us, you played a role in putting that together? For the Ashley?
Yeah, I put that together, and like I said, you know, with my cousin Mark Garrett, he's a land attorney, law office, and a professor, and he also did the architectural model of the Delaware County Fair, and it's upstairs. Now, one more thing, if any of you politicians can get a hold of the governor, and he was a farmer too, he was a farm boy, DeWine Feed and Seed Company and Twine Company. If they could get Mr. Don over here a feed bag to hang up in his museum, pressurize the governor to do that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
It's not that long, it's just extra large. Good morning, Commissioners and everyone here in the public. In the spring of 1923...
Don, introduce yourself. Full
Oh,
name.
I'm Don Howard. I'm an ex officio director on the board. In the spring of 1923, when the Smith Hughes teacher at Ashley High School approached the Ashley Fair Board asking permission for his boys' pig club to exhibit their pigs on the main street of Ashley during the Ashley Fair, the board responded by saying no, but through the perseverance of one director. Now, the gentleman that asked that was a Smith Hughes teacher at Ashley High School. Smith Hughes, today we call that vocational agriculture. But the two gentlemen that had that bill passed in Congress, it was to fund the federal government funding for vocational education. So, and even in the yearbook, the Delcoian yearbook of 1924, they list him as the Smith Hughes teacher, not the vocational agriculture teacher, but the Smith Hughes teacher. So, Charles Ashbrook was the one director who went ahead and proposed that he worked with R.B. Warner, and he made certain that the fair continued, or he continued to work with Warner and the Fair Board in preparation for the next year's fair in 1924. So the first year, it wasn't anything official, they just got to show their pigs at the fair. But by the second year, he had worked with R.B. Warner and laid out the plans for a junior fair board and to allow the children to display, exhibit, and compete for premiums. And they also formed the first Junior Fair Board. And in that case, the Junior Fair Board reported directly to the Senior Fair Board. And it just, all of those things together made up the first Junior Fair. Because as I look through, I can't even imagine how many newspapers I've read from the past 150 years, from the Library of Congress and the National Archives. But they talk in there, as early as 1917, I've seen where what was known then as the National Agricultural Commission was running ads in papers across the nation encouraging county and independent fairs to let children exhibit and participate in fairs. And they did things, they sponsored apple contests one year across the nation. And the next year it might be corn contest. And the next year it might be pig contest. So, Ashbrook thought the time to not only allow the boys to exhibit the Ashley Fair, but to actually participate in the competition with premiums being awarded. Warner went on to become the Delaware County School Superintendent, and Ashbrook was hired in 1926 by the Ohio State Fair to be the superintendent of the first junior fair at a state fair in the United States. So, and I found all kinds of newspaper articles talking about that, and that's what took us so long to put this together, is going out and finding documentation to truly verify what had happened. So we're putting the Ashley Junior Fair in the Hall of Fame, the Agricultural Hall of Fame, because if you stop and think, every county fair in the country practically has a junior fair. And if you stop and think, I can't even imagine what that number might be of the children that participated in 4-H, that went on to a variety of careers, but it was, some cases, it was a lifetime commitment they developed to agriculture. So, I mean, I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands of students but anyway, 4-H is a great organization, and it certainly has lent it to agriculture. So, as did the Ashley Fair. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Any questions, comments, observations? Commissioner Lewis?
Oh, I think the research, I can imagine. I
It's
mean,
just-
that's great, and not many people have done that, unfortunately. So, but the impact that you outlined is so great. So, thank you.
Yeah, it's just like kind of stumbling across the Smith-Hughes Act. I had no idea that existed, and so it's amazing the things that are lost to history.
Yes?
Thanks, Don.
He talked about the impact. If you know Ben Curtis, the champion golfer,
British Open.
the Mills Creek was a hog farm back in the day, and his mother won grand champion pigs down. I know because I competed against her. I didn't like her very much. So, and then they went on to turn that into a golf course, and Ben became the golf champion that he was. Other than that, like I said, there was a lot of people that come out. The first vice president of the newly formed FFA was from Ashley, Ohio, through that program in 1928, Lawrence Augustine. So, there was a lot of people and things, and I plan on writing a book about not only the agriculture, but the important people that came from that small village.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Minton.
Yeah, again, what a neat fact to find out is that Ashley started the junior fairs across the country, and the junior fair here is very active. We have our auction Tuesday and Wednesday night. Been doing that for years and years, and it's just a great time, and it's a great experience for the kids who participate in it. I know we'll get into more of that later, so I won't go on and on, but again, I think it's just great that we have that it originated in Ashley, and it's been 100 years now. I just think it's really neat, so congratulations. Right?
Well, I'm going to read the proclamation, then I'll
Yep.
call for the vote. Whereas the Delaware County Board of Commissioners wishes to recognize the lasting impact of the Ashley Junior Fair, the first of its kind in the United States, which later served as a template for youth participation at the Delaware County Fair and county fairs across the country. And whereas in 1923, R.B. Warner, a vocational agricultural teacher at the local high school, partnered with Ashley Fair board member Charles Ashbrook to allow youth to exhibit pigs in the streets of Ashley during the Ashley Fair. And whereas in 1924, the Ashley Fair made history by giving name to the first junior fair in the country and allowing youth to show against one another for the first time. And whereas, following the establishment of the local junior fair board, Ashbrook worked with the Ohio State Fair to become the first with a junior fair, an achievement reached in 1929. And whereas this year, on the occasion of its 100th anniversary, the Ashley Junior Fair was inducted into the Delaware County Agricultural Society's Hall of Fame. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Delaware County Board of Commissioners does hereby honor and celebrate the enduring legacy of the Ashley Junior Fair, recognizing its significant role in advancing youth participation in county fairs and its historic contributions to the development of youth agricultural exhibition. Signed by Commissioner Jeff Benton, Commissioner Barb Lewis, Commissioner Gary Merrill. Call for vote.
Vote on motion 24-752. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. Let's get a photo, if we would. Three of us and two of you. It's an opportunity to remind ourselves of some of the history in this great county, so thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Item number 8, we have Rob Leeds with our OSU Extension Office and some others, with Larissa Hook and Jackie Smith, and the Junior Fair Board. Youth is going to explain to us Junior Fair sales, products, and 4-H leadership.
This is something we did last year, and I think we enjoyed it thoroughly, and the updates appreciated.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys inviting us out again. Once again, when you get done, I'd love to get you guys a picture with our kids. But anyway, once again, before I turn it over to the 4-H part of our group, I want to thank you guys for once again for being so supportive of OSU Extension. I've been here about 35 years now, and there's no other commissioner group that's been as tight and as supportive of us, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Anyway, I'd like to introduce our 4-H staff, Jackie Smith and Larissa Hook, and they will introduce you to our 4-Hers.
Great.
So, like he said, I'm Jackie Smith, and I am one of the co-advisors for the Junior Fair Board with Larissa.
Hi, I'm Larissa Hook, 4-H educator here in Delaware for 26 years.
Yeah, so we've got a few of our Junior Fair Board members with us that are going to have come on up. So, come on up. We have Lauren Brenner, Austin Chapman, and Emma Wheeler here to tell you a little bit about their projects and their involvement in 4-H and how at least one fun story.
Why don't you introduce yourselves just so we have the right name with the right names?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Lauren Brenner. I am 17 years old, and this is since Cloverbud to now. I've been in 4-H for 11 years now. My current projects is market goats, pygmy goats, as well as breeding rabbits. Over the years, I've also taken multiple leadership projects, as well as market hogs and poultry. I currently serve on the Royalty Court as Senior Princess. I'm on Junior Fair Board, the Ohio Teen Leadership Council, as well as the Livestock Committee for Rabbits. Something I've gained from 4-H is my love for leadership. I have learned major skills through leadership camp, which I attended over the summer. But this has really changed me as a person, so I thrive to be the best leader I can for not only my club, but my community. And I think that's very important to me. So finding my love for leadership really helped me through 4-H. So, yep, that's all I have.
I think you should run for office.
Oh, gosh. Thank you.
My name is Austin Chapman, and this is my second year in 4-H. I am part of the Junior Fair Board, and I show beef, feeder calves, and 4-H has helped me through like hard times and taught me valuable things like leadership, skills, and just overall been a great part of my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emma Wheeler. I am 15 years old, and this is my first year at a part of Junior Fair Board, but my 7th year in 4-H. I think 4-H is such a great thing, and it's very diverse. One thing I think that 4-H brings a lot is just experience, but also knowledge. Having me just showing pigs for 7 years straight and no other species, I have recently just caught a pheasant out of my bare hands, just upped and grab it. And that was literally just 2 days ago, and I think that having to be able to rely on other people, but also having them rely on myself, it's just a great thing that you have such a close show family that it creates such a strong feeling in your chest that you have somebody that can back you up in hard times, but also great times. And having such a broad exhibitors, but also a broad knowledge for people that peers that you can look up to, such as like judges, but parents and things like that. Just a bunch of resources that 4-H gives you. So, thank you.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Go ahead and clap first. You get ready to clap. Let's clap. What school system you guys with? If you said I didn't catch it.
Me and Austin go to Big Walnut High School.
Okay.
I'm currently at Buckeye Valley High School.
Okay. We often associate these things with Buckeye Valley, but the point is Big Walnut and in the past other school systems as well. I think it's important that we identify this fact that kids all through our county are participating. So, any questions?
Yeah, how many kids are in 4-H now? Larissa? You probably know that off the top of your head.
We have currently a little over 1,000 kids in the program this year. They are, as you said, spread across the county. Obviously, our southern part of the county has a harder time showing livestock, but they are participating in things like you'll see exhibits in our ag center here, anything from woodworking, cake decorating, photography, sewing, clothing, and foods. All of those are additional projects that kids can take. So we do have across the whole county, as you said, involved in our program. We have about 320 volunteers, those mentors that Emma recognized, involved in the program.
I want to tell a little bit more about Emma's story with the pheasant. Friday night during check-in, the birds were being checked in by all of the adult poultry committee, and the pheasant flew away, right? We all thought the pheasant had flown away, literally gone. So Saturday morning, we're out looking in the bushes, and I send Emma out to go look for it. And she runs back to me and she says, "What do I do if I find it?" And I said, "You found it? I can't believe it's here." So it was roosting in the bushes out here, and Emma ran back to the poultry mentors, and they were able to, after a few more flights, it flew eventually over to the pig and lamb barn, but they were able to capture the pheasant, and it was able that a young member was able to show his bird in the show on Saturday. So 2 gold stars for Emma that day.
That's great.
And I just want to make a comment. You said 1,000 at 4-H, roughly. You 3 represented 4-H really, really well today.
Yeah.
So be very proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
We actually took some of them away from their roles and their job duties, so if you don't mind, I'm going to let them
We're
go
going to get a
back.
photo. I think
Oh,
they want
yes,
a
we'll get the
photo.
photo first, and then we can do that. So
Let's
hang
get the
hang
photo.
tight before we do that.
Okay. Any other comments before we get the photo? Let's get the photo. It's always an inspiration when you see young people doing good things. With that, let's proceed.
Our next item on the agenda is to bring back our annexation petition from agent for the petitioner, Michael R. Shade, attorney at law, requesting annexation of 239.167 acres of land in Delaware Township and Concord Township to the city of Delaware.
So move.
We
Well,
don't need
it's
a
not
motion, do we?
It's not
Oh.
a motion at this
Oh, I'm
point.
sorry. Yeah.
I believe that our council is going to bring up an item that we received from the city of Delaware.
We had I think the city council of Delaware passed a resolution last Monday, and you're going to update us on that, Eric?
Yes, Eric Hostetler, General Counsel. The City of Delaware did amend the services ordinance for this annexation, and they added language to address the segmentation or division of US 42, which was a question we had from the last meeting. I've reviewed that amended services ordinance, and it's my opinion and recommendation to the board that that has satisfied the condition that was the basis of an objection. And that is based on Supreme Court case, State ex rel Xenia v. Greene County Board of Commissioners. It's a 2020 case. It was a unanimous decision of the Supreme Court, finding that a services ordinance that basically restates the language from the statute is sufficient to meet that condition. An actual agreement, the Supreme Court found, is not required. So that's the basis of my recommendation from the review of the revised services ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I believe we also have some public comment.
We do have two individuals that have signed up for public comment today for this item.
Okay. Is this the order that we received them in?
Yes, Mr. Reinhardt's was first.
Okay, Eric, once you have a chair, we'll listen to the two comments, and then Chris, I believe you went first, so come forward and introduce yourself. And we have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, sir.
I hopefully won't be that long.
Okay.
Members of the commission, Chris Reinhardt, on behalf of Concord Township. Earlier today, I emailed you guys, just for purposes of the record, some official comment, position of the board with respect to the road maintenance issue. And really, under the statute, the requirement of the board is to make a determination as to whether the road maintenance provision has been satisfied. And so the question that comes up from a legal perspective, and Eric and I might disagree a little bit about the interpretation of Xenia, but the question becomes, how do you make that determination? I mean, is it just simply that you accept the rote repetition of the statutory language within the services resolution, or is there something more that you can ask, even though it may not be statutorily required? Can you ask for additional information to ensure that that requirement has been met? So in this context, I think I've explained before that normally these things are handled by intergovernmental agreements. Those things can be addressed before the petition is ever filed. And so if merely repeating the language of the statute in the services ordinance is acceptable, but it's a condition of acceptance of the petition for annexation, and you just accept that language at the initial acceptance stage. The follow-up question then becomes, how do you determine that the condition has been satisfied? Because at some point it becomes a question as to whether the statutory language is meaningful at all. Because if you just accept what the repetition of the language within the services ordinance without more, then how would anyone ever know whether a city actually does go through and fulfill its responsibility to maintain that road? So that's essentially what the assertion that we're asking. You may not be necessarily legally required to provide that agreement, but I don't think the statute prohibits you from asking. So,
thank you, Chris. And I believe we also have Joe Garrett. Joe, introduce yourself.
I'm Joe Garrett, Concord Township trustee. I'm also a Delaware County 4-H volunteer and on the GOAT committee here at the fair. I want to back up. You know, a lot of things that we do as townships are by statute, so we understand statutes. We don't believe, you know, and we know that this is a taking. And in other places, we don't feel that, you know, you notify those that are going to be involved so we can make these objections. Okay? So we make an objection. Then to say after the fact, okay, so in Concord Township, we're changing our zoning that basically says if you want to apply for zoning, all these things that are listed here, you have to provide at the time that you apply. All these things, you have to meet all these. If you do not, we aren't hearing your zoning case. And the reason we do that is because developers were sending things in, they weren't complete, they were going to zoning meetings, didn't have the information, and then wanted a continuance. And what it was is they're feeling out. They're seeing what we will require and what we won't. They do not want to have to do it up front. They want to kind of wait and see how it goes. This smells of that to me, okay? This is an ODOT road. The city of Delaware can say, oh, we're going to do this. Well, have you talked to ODOT? Is ODOT going to allow you to do that? We don't know that. And I can tell you, hey, I'm going to build a new building here for the fair. It's easy to say, but maybe when they tell me, no, it's going to cost $5 million, I'm going to say, well, I don't have $5 million. So if ODOT says, oh, yeah, well, we'll let you do it, but here's our requirements. You know, I read on social media and the paper everywhere, Delaware doesn't have any money. So how are they going to maintain this road? And is ODOT even going to allow them to? And if they do, what conditions are they going to be put on them? We don't know any of this information, number one. Number two, it's all being done after the fact. This could have all been done beforehand. But here in Delaware County, they've found they don't have to because you'll approve it. Other counties, no, they have to provide all that information so that when they're making a decision, they know here's what's going to happen. But here, it has been the track record, oh, well, we do this, and council says, oh, they meet this statute, so you have to allow it. You do not. You have the authority to say no. And that's what we're asking you to do. If they want to re-petition this, let them, but make them give all the information that they could have got beforehand. There was nothing stopping them from having these discussions beforehand to provide this information so it gets sent out to the people that are involved so we can review it. We were voted to represent Concord Township. Is this going to be a problem? We don't know. Why? Because they didn't include it. And when we made our arguments of why it is, well, then it never comes back to us. It should be done at the beginning, and they have the capability to have these conversations, to apply it at the beginning. Don't allow them to skirt what's right. You can say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Eric, I'm going to ask you if you'll come back forward and just comment on what you've heard. Does that in any way change your perspective?
Again, Eric Hostetler. No, nothing has changed my opinion, my recommendation. And if you'll allow me, I'll just read directly from the case. RC 709.023 E7 provides that, quote, "if a street or highway will be divided or segmented by the boundary line between the township and the municipal corporation as to create a road maintenance problem, the municipal corporation must have agreed as a condition of the annexation to assume the maintenance of that street or highway or to otherwise correct the problem." The condition stated here is separate from the services resolution, but in our precedents, we have allowed it to be addressed in the services resolution. But the timing of that, quote-unquote, agreement to either assume the maintenance of the street or highway or to otherwise correct the problem, that does not have to occur with the services resolution. It just has in Delaware County. So going on to the case, although the city essentially replicated this language in its petition, during deliberations on the petition, one of the county commissioners inquired about the scope of the city's agreement. The city's attorney initially responded that the city would maintain portions of affected roads that crossed over the bicycle path, but would not maintain any other portions of the roads because the city would not have jurisdiction over the latter portions. The attorney later clarified this response, saying that the city would comply with whatever legal requirements regarding road maintenance would apply. The county, in this case, the county was the appellee in the case, so they were defending their actions after having denied the annexation. The county claims that the attorney's statements invalidate the city's agreement to assume road maintenance duties. But as the Court of Appeals observed, RC 709.023E7 provides that a municipal corporation must agree either to assume the maintenance of the street or highway or to otherwise correct the problem. In light of the clause's disjunctive phrasing, it does not matter whether the attorney's statement undermined the city's promise to assume street maintenance duties because the city had agreed, quote, to otherwise correct the problem, end quote. The county next argues that the city failed to present to the township or any agency an agreement concerning road maintenance issues. However, the county cites no law that requires a municipal corporation to do this. Last, the county claims that the city had failed to correct road maintenance problems arising from prior annexations. Thus, the argument runs, the city will fail to correct problems arising from the proposed annexation. This argument is speculative, and even if true, it fails to establish a genuine issue of material fact concerning whether the city, in fact, agreed in its petition to correct road maintenance-related problems. The court's conclusion, we conclude that the city's petition satisfies RC 709.023E7's requirements. So you very well can decide that this condition has not been met and deny the annexation petition. That's within your discretion to do that. My recommendation is that you not do that because you would be subject to an appeal by the parties who actually have standing to appeal, that being either the municipal corporation or the party seeking annexation, and end up with a similar result after unnecessary legal action. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
I don't.
There are two resolutions before you with direction on which one you would like me to read.
Based on what we've heard from our council, the annexation.
Resolution number 24-753, in the matter of granting the annexation petition from agent for the petitioner, Michael R. Shade, attorney at law, requesting annexation of 239.167 acres of land in Delaware Township and Concord Township to the city of Delaware.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 24-753. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Brings us to item number 10 on page 103. Resolution number 24-754, in the matter of approving a professional services agreement by and between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and DLZ Architect Incorporated for professional design services for the Delaware County Jail renovations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
I'm Nick Carafa, Jail Director for the Sheriff's Office. This is our next large step towards getting some schematical designs drawn up for what we potentially could be doing with the existing facilities at the 844 US 42 North building, which is the county jail here. I'm open to any questions or comments you guys have.
Question, comment?
Yeah, I was going to ask, go ahead, Sheriff Balzer.
Yes, Sheriff Jeff Balzer. Just a few comments. The original jail out on US Route 42 was constructed and completed in 1988. We had subsequent renovations, dorms, back in the early 2000s. Both of them were very welcome. Since that time, our population has changed and our needs have changed out at the jail. As you know, we've recently become accredited, which will be before the board next Monday when we can get our leadership team together for that. I'm looking forward to that. But part of that was with the facility. We worked really hard within our facility, but updates are needed. We don't need a new jail. That's the good news. We do not need a new jail. However, to keep pace with the best practices for jails, we're looking to update it, including some of the oldest areas, some of our single cell housing areas, our medical area, our kitchen, and some other places. These are the areas we're looking to hopefully update with this plan. That's why we're seeking approval to get these plans, the detailed plans, so we can find out how much and over what course of time we can get this completed.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, Sheriff, you and I have talked before about possibly going after grant dollars for jail renovations. I know there's different grant programs for jail work at the State House, and would encourage you to do that. I don't think we've ever gotten a grant before for any of the jail work that we've done, but I know they're definitely interested in helping counties address jail concerns.
Yeah, I could say there has been more of a need, and the state's kind of recognized that over the past couple of years, and they've been sending down, sizable amounts. These schematical drawings and everything will kind of put us in a position to start being able to apply for those a little bit more, with more of a specific dollar and an intent behind it. So we're looking forward to being able to submit for a lot of those.
And then kind of a follow-up question is, what sort of timeline are we looking at to finish this process and then actually propose to do construction?
I think the schematical design, where they're researching everything, is going to take 6 months, and I think another 6 months after that to finalize maybe the phasing and planning. What can we do in what amount of time? I think they'll be able to provide much more options in that kind of later half of their expected time, evaluating and drawing up the schematics.
I think one of the things we talked about with DLZ at the beginning when they did their future use study, which is very helpful, possibly in 3 different phases over a number of years. Just because of jail operations, we can't just shut the jail down and bring all the renovations at once. So we tried to phase that in, and that's part of what they're going to advise us once they do this detailed plans in.
Okay.
I just suggest that there's limited dollars to the state, but I think mainly for new jails or whatever, but I would encourage that we look, as Commissioner Benton alluded to, make sure we all avenues and see what dollars are out there. I know they're competitive, and so I'd encourage that.
We will.
Okay.
We will.
Anything else? Call for the vote.
Vote on motion 24-754. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Resolution number 24-755. A resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $104,794.08 for the purpose of paying the property owner's portion in anticipation of the collection of special assessments of the cost of improving the Lynetta Lane subdivision watershed drainage area, including Section 1 and Section 2, between certain termini by acquiring any required interest in real property, clearing obstructions, deepening, widening, reshaping, straightening, tilling, seeding, and controlling erosion, and other improvements the same, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Justin Navi, Director of Finance. Again, this is a request to issue debt for the Lynetta Lane Ditch Project. It'll have a rate of 4.6% over 15 years.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 24-755. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 24-756. A resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $88,366.24 for the purpose of paying the property owner's portion in anticipation of collection of special assessments of the cost of improving the English number 346 watershed drainage area, including main part, lateral A west, lateral A east, and lateral B, between certain termini by acquiring any required interest in real property, clearing obstructions, deepening, widening, reshaping, straightening, tilling, seeding, controlling erosion, and other improving the same, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. The second item is also for the issuance of debt on the English 346 project. This will have a rate of 4.5% over 8 years.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 24-756. Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Resolution number 24-757, a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $32,777.87 for the purpose of paying the property owner's portion in anticipation of the collection of special assessments of the cost of improving the Village at Harvest Wind condominium watershed drainage area, including Miller Williams Homes Part 2 and the Village at Harvest Wind condominium part, between certain termini by acquiring any required interest in real property, clearing obstructions, deepening, widening, reshaping, straightening, tilling, seeding, controlling erosion, and other improving the same, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. This third item, also issuance of debt for the Harvest Wind Ditch Project. This will also have a rate of 4.5% over 8 years.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 24-757. Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 24-758, a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $39,774.62 for the purpose of paying the property owner's portion in anticipation of collection of special assessments of the cost of improving the Radnor Township number 2015-1 watershed drainage area between certain termini by acquiring any required interest in real property, clearing obstructions, deepening, widening, reshaping, straightening, tilling, seeding, controlling erosion, and other improving the same, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Thanks, Commissioners. This final item, also for the issuance of debt on the Radnor Ditch Project. This last item will also have a rate of 4.5% over 8 years.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 24-758. Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
I think we have an item for other business.
We do have an item for other business, resolution number 24-759, in the matter of confirming the semi-annual review of investment proceedings and issuing written findings based on the review.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Who's going to discuss these?
Yeah, I'll start off. About a little over a year ago, well, let me back up a little bit. There's an investment advisory committee consisting of Commissioner Lewis and myself and the treasurer that oversee the policies and investments of the county's investment portfolio. And not too long ago, we did change that policy to include the requirement of approval of all three commissioners. It was a 3-0 vote, or all three board members. It was a 3-0 vote, and to require the approval, submission, and approval of the purchase prior to the purchase of any private placement bonds. And in the first 6 months of this year, we've become aware of a couple bonds that were purchased outside that policy, and we did not review them as required by policy. So we're just noting that those violations did occur. There was some disagreement over whether that policy was enforceable. We asked for a prosecutor's opinion. Prosecutor agreed that it is a valid policy. and we need to follow that policy. I think one really important thing is that it's the investments that that are purchased for the county's investment portfolio need to provide a safe and fair return to the taxpayers whose funds are being invested. And that's why we implemented this policy change, to make sure that that process does go through to be followed. So again, the first 6 months we found a couple of violations of that. So that's my findings. So
Yes, and I support this resolution. As mentioned, the Delaware County Investment Committee unanimously passed this resolution, and it has been reaffirmed by the county prosecutor as lawfully adopted and enforceable. And it sets up a process for approval of private placement bonds and investments. And it's extremely important that this process be followed so our taxpayer dollars are spent in the right ways. And as the resolution states, the investment authority, in this case it's the treasurer, has invested the inactive monies of the county in documented, substantial, and material and continuing disregard of the unanimously passed resolution process that we set up by the committee. So strongly back this resolution.
My only comment, I'm not on the investment committee, so I'm kind of the, let's say, neutral person in this. What I'm hearing and what I've learned before this meeting, this was a unanimous vote, including the treasurer, a 3-0 vote. So I'm a little confused as to why they would not follow that policy and procedure. And I get the impression, it does not mean you would not support it. You're just asking they go through the proper channels so that questions can be asked to make sure that we are protecting the taxpayer.
Right. We didn't even know about this ahead of time. We didn't discuss it.
Yeah, that's an important point. We're not saying that we wouldn't approve these bond purchases, but they just need to be safe, and at market rates. And that's what we've discovered, is that they've not met those terms and not gone through the policy, and therefore we need to just do this action. So that we can ensure that future purchases, at a minimum, follow the proper procedure. And again, we want to help our townships, cities, villages, or fire districts, or schools, or libraries, whatever, who are interested in issuing bonds. But again, it's got to be done through the proper process, and it's got to be safe purchases that meet the criteria for investing, and then at market rates.
Yeah. Taxpayer dollars.
Okay, any other comments? Call for vote.
Vote on motion 24-759. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Nothing? Our deputy administrators, I know they're going to have something. We'll start with Don Houston. Eric Hostedler. Okay, with that, Commissioner Lewis.
Yes. I attended the Vietnam Veterans Wall for healing over the weekend with Commissioner Merrill and many of our other citizens. It was extremely moving. We were privileged here in Delaware County to have this wall. It would a tremendous effort by our Veterans Services Commission and many other veterans, many other volunteers, and the location was perfect in a very serene and beautiful area, Havner Park, and everything was it just being there. Reminded all of us of the great sacrifice that our Vietnam War veterans played. They were when they came back to the country, unfortunately, they were treated terribly, And this is a way for those men and women to be honored. There were, my golly, over 58,000 who died in the Vietnam War. And I was just very honored to be there and to volunteer for it.
Yeah, I'm going to let Commissioner Benton comment, and I'm going to make a few comments. We have a head of Veteran Services here. After my comments, I'm going to ask you to kind of give us an update on everything. Commissioner Benton.
Yeah, I went yesterday afternoon, and I got there just as the closing ceremony was starting. And a very serene, serious, appropriately somber the ceremony to close out this very special event that we were very fortunate to have, thanks to Brian and the whole team that worked on getting it here. The only one in the state of Ohio. But we brought a couple of our grandkids, and we just wanted them to see, and just have a little understanding of the sacrifices of 58,000 plus men and women who died in the Vietnam War, and that's just one of the wars, in our history, our country's history. And I just want them to appreciate the sacrifices of the military and how we, have the great country and the freedoms that we have because of the military. So it was just really, really neat. Really appreciated, again, and Brian will comment, I'm sure, but thanks to everyone who made this possible.
Yeah, my comment, I had the privilege of following Commissioner Lewis and her husband, who worked in front of me Friday, and neither one of us killed anyone in the golf carts.
That's right, we
were assigned the responsibility of getting people in the parking lot to either the trailer area where the museum or memorabilia was located, or down to the actual monument. And it was amazing the number of people. I was there for the Friday evening ceremony, and it went really well. And Saturday evening about 6 o'clock, I wrapped up what I was doing. So I'm going to run over there for the Saturday ceremony, which was fantastic. It was candlelight, and everybody went down to the wall that was able physically to go, and we were kind of asked to zero in on a name that somebody we wouldn't know, but just kind of, and that was, it was interesting. And the parking lot was full. In fact, when we were leaving, people were coming in. I'm guessing they were having to wait for people to leave so they could find a place to park, to come in to go up to the wall and have their moment. A lot of people were involved. A lot of people volunteer in this county. We talk about that all the time, about the people in this county are so generous in volunteering their time for whatever it happens to be this. We had a huge number for training on Wednesday night. Commissioner Lewis and I had the privilege of being at that. What a great event. What a great county we live in. And I know surrounding counties were here as well. People from out of state. With that, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kind of give your thoughts.
No, I just want to echo everything that you said. Yeah, Brian Gallagher, Director of the Delaware County Veteran Service Office. And the volunteer and just between the townships and the county and all the different organizations, it was overwhelming. So just from the county itself, we had the sheriff's office, the engineer, our maintenance department, the auditor's office. Jane and Eric did an outstanding job. Ron was out there all the time. Preservation Parks, EMA, Delcom, Delaware County EMS, Delco Transit, and of course the county commissioners. That's just I'm sure I'm missing people, but that's just attached to the county that were there involved with this to help this thing be a successful event. And I know, something that we look at is it was very well attended. It's well over 12,000 people that were there. I think this number is probably significantly higher than that. But to me, it was the right number of people. And I'm going to close with just this story because it's something I'm going to remember, for the rest of my life. So Saturday evening was the candlelight vigil. And, I spoke. I was in my uniform. And it was about, we turned the wall orange for Agent Orange. And I had lost my father, and part of the reason why he passed away was due to Agent Orange. And, I mentioned that. And, whenever we went out to the wall and started, going out after that was over with, I had 3 people that night come up to me and hugged me and ended up crying on my shoulder. And it was because of people that, had a story like myself or knew of somebody on the wall. And I think some of it may have been from the story that I had or from the fact that I was in uniform out there. And I'm sure the other people that were in uniform out there may have experienced the same thing. So I think the numbers were great, the turnout was great, but I think, the term that they use, the wall that heals, is it's not a misnomer. I truly think that happened out there. And I know, from my experience that happened to me, it's something I'm never going to forget. And I'm truly honored by the volunteer effort and everybody that made this a success. Thank you.
And you mentioned Jane and Eric. I just wanted Jane Hawes and Eric from our communication department in the commissioner's office. You were out there every time I was out there, so well done. It was something we should all be very proud of. With that, thank you very much. And Commissioner Lewis, do you have anything else?
Actually, Brian just reminded me, 3 ladies came up to me and said, could you please find a shady place for us to sit with some water? And I said, oh, sure. And so I found them that, and one of the ladies there said she was involved in Vietnam, and she said, this is the first time I've ever told my story. And she told her story. Her husband was there, and then these other ladies. And but she felt so moved, and she let go of a burden because she was able to tell what happened to her. And just again, the wall that heals. So many people were healed with that wall. Thank you, Brian.
Well, along the same line, I'm going to turn over to Commissioner Benton. I saw this couple on motorcycles, and they were there early when I got there on Friday evening. And then I saw them an hour and a half later sitting on the benches. And then I saw them back at the wall again. The reverence and what they were going through emotionally, I don't know. I did not talk to them. But obviously it was important to them to spend that kind of time to walk away and come back. It was obviously an emotional issue for them. Whatever their story is, I don't know. And there was probably countless other stories like that. And the fact that this county could play a role in helping healing says a lot about a lot of people. And Commissioner Benton, I'll turn it over to you. Everything else?
Really nothing else on the wall that heals, but again, great that we were able to host that and honor our vets. And we actually have a veterans dinner. Every year we do a veterans dinner honoring our vets. It'll be this Friday here at the Fairgrounds, and that's always another way. I think the county just really appreciates and honors the veterans of the military who again keep us free and protect our country. A couple other things just going on at the fair this week. There is this little event called the Little Brown Jug that is this Thursday, and it's all afternoon. Little Brown Jug, the heats and the final will be late Thursday afternoon. Don't know the exact times because it always depends on the number of heats and so on, but it's Delaware's Day in the Sun every year. 50,000 people will be here, and it's just a great tradition. Wall of Fame and Joe Neville Award winners, we will be honoring them tomorrow night. And then Tuesday and Wednesday night are the Junior Fair auctions, where all the kids who put so much effort and time and resources into their community projects, whether it's livestock or all the different corn and plant projects that they have. It's just really neat to see them win and then get their items auctioned off. So it's a lot of fun. That's all I got.
Regarding the livestock, it's something I've had a privilege being involved with when I was in Athens and up here as well. Whether you go and bid or not, if you have a chance, come out to the auctions tomorrow night. You might get enthusiastic and decide that you want to bid. These young kids, I I enjoy, I have a dollar amount that I set aside every year for this, and these are special kids doing special things, and these are the kind of kids that are going to be our leaders tomorrow. It's our way of saying, we recognize what you're doing, we appreciate what you're doing, and this is our way of saying thank you for what you're doing. And tomorrow night and Wednesday night, and I don't have in front of me the list of who's Tuesday as far as the animals and Wednesday, but over the 2 nights you'll get out if you can. I can't say that enough, and the kids deserve your support. And the only other thing I do have regional planning Wednesday morning executive, and I'll be there Wednesday morning, and beyond that I'll be out here quite a bit during the week, and the Veterans event is Friday night, so look forward to participating in that once again this year. With that, is there any other business to bring before us?
No, that's it.
So without objection, we are adjourned.
25th.